Live from the Transitional Radio Uplink in Cuenca, Ecuador, you're listening to All Natural Being with guest host Henry G. Noel. What's the G stand for? Giddy up on IPMNation.com. Here's Henry.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this, the 354th episode of Brian Broady's All Natural Being, the number one rated show on IPMNation.com and brought to you by Transitional Radio. And this is Free for All Thursday, where you get to talk and I get to listen. Now, we're live this evening on IPMNation.com. Transitional Radio's Facebook and YouTube pages with Fly on the Wall video or Brian's Shunt Cam, however you want to look at it. Although that is going to be temporary, I am trusting. On Facebook and YouTube with rebroadcasts on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and a whole host of others. Now, we are broadcasting live this evening from our international uplink studio in Cuenca, Ecuador, and we want to thank our good friends at Wirecast for making it possible for us to be live and broadcasting globally. So we also want to thank our trusted listeners for, without you, there would be, well, little reason for me to be here. So we want to thank those listening on live radio and those listening to our rebroadcasts. And we also want to thank our Fly on the Wall video listeners. We do find it far more enjoyable having you participating in the thread and sharing your ideas. So to all our listeners from all over the globe, from places like the United States and Ecuador, Ireland and the UK, Canada, Colombia, Australia, Germany, Cambodia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Bulgaria, Argentina, Bangladesh, Brazil, Algeria, France, Pakistan, Palestine, Belgium, the Dominican Republic, Ethiopia, Indonesia, India, Japan, South Korea, Laos, Mexico, Malaysia, Peru, Romania, Senegal, Turkey, China, Nigeria, Singapore, Thailand, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Egypt, Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, Greece, Poland, Nepal, and we get to add Uruguay, Spain, Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Liberia. So thank you all for investing your valuable time with us. We are quite aware that there are many ways that you could be spending your valuable time. So thank you for choosing to spend it with us. We greatly appreciate it. And it's wonderful having you here. My name is Henry Noel, guest hosting for our good friend and shunt flow reducing Brian Brody. And I'm thrilled to be filling in for our virtual hitchhiker. So from 2 degrees south of the equator, where the girth of the earth exceeds the chubby scale, we want you to understand, regardless of where you are on this globe, your life is still your jungle. And you, in spite of what you think and believe, you get to carve out your path and hack out the underbrush, suppressing your passion to live life the way you want. Why cow down for the sport of others? You were dealt this hand, so why not play it with all the passion you can find and play it the way you always dreamt and said you would play it if only you were given a chance? Well, here's your chance. No one is more qualified to control your life than you. So why cave in to the pundits who presume they're in control of you? Why allow the opinions of others to derail you from your all-natural being? Don't get caught up in all of the foolishness that others use to demoralize you, and use your primal scream to stand tall and proud, front and center. And don't place yourself in second place. You're way better than that. And we're here to ensure you have your rock star moment as your friendly force, placing your heart's highest priority top of the list, reinstating the true wisdom and wallop of your inner whisper, pushing you to terminate the turmoil in your life, limit the liability of your luggage, and streamline your sensibility so you can face this crazy world head on and out brutal the brutal. All this so you can bring on your own bold once and for all. So get prepared for some audio acupuncture where we treat the points of your chronic philosophical pain, providing auricular therapy to reduce your anxiety, medical qigong for your mind, body, and spirit, and Reiki for your rationality, all to provide a natural healing approach to the medical mayhem we call life. Welcome to Healing in the Nth Degree. Are you ready? Are you comfortable? I certainly hope so. Well, kick off your shoes and let's get this bloody thing started, shall we? We trust everyone has had a good day thus far, and I want to thank you for joining me on this free-for-all Thursday evening. Tonight, you get to vent, and I get to listen. So, for all our radio listeners, email your questions to me at henry@henrygnoel.com, and I will be happy to answer them. If you're listening to our rebroadcast and want to voice your opinions and don't think anybody's listening, email me, and I will reply to them. I am trying to create an avenue for everyone to be actively involved in this show so you can all discover your all natural being. So let's get this evening underway, shall we? Let's get into the thread. Let's say hi to our fly on the wall listeners and see who has brave enough to show up this evening, okay? All right, let's see who's got us here. Wow. Okay, Janelle, welcome to the show this evening. Thank you. Happy Thursday to you. Alice, and to you too. Welcome to the show, and thank you very much. Happy Thursday to you. Wayne, thank you very much. That just goes without saying. I wouldn't be here without him. Candace, peace to you. It's great to see you. Glad you're here. Rita, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you there, Rita. That's good. Bob, how are you? My goodness, it's been a long time. Wow, that's a nice. It's good to see your face, Marcia. Oh, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Good evening. It's great to have you. All right. So this is Free for All Thursday, where you get to let us know what you think. And between Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, with the amount of data I threw at you, I'm sure there's got to be some questions out there, and I'm sure there's got to be some differences of opinion, which I do welcome. I think they're really great. They help me grow and help me learn. So if there's any stuff you wish to talk about, please pop it out there. I'd be happy to recover stuff. If there's stuff that you really want to go back over, we'll re-go over stuff. And we'll save getting into the rest of this belief systems. Well, actually, it'll take us several days to still go through the rest of it, but we'll pick that up on Sunday night. So yeah, anything that you want to talk about, please go for it. You've got my attention, and be happy to go ahead and answer your questions. And again, for those out listening on the radio, I am serious. If regardless of where you are in the world, I'm an email away. So please don't hesitate to email me if you want to get a little bit more information about what the purpose of the show is, what we're trying to do. I'd be happy to answer you. If you're wanting just to understand where I'm coming from or who in the world I am, I'll be happy to go ahead and answer those for you too. I really want to get everybody involved in the show. As if you're willing to tune in and listen, then you have a right to be able to do what we got to say. I want to go ahead and tell you that my email address, again, I know I went through it in the beginning, but again, email me. It is henry@henrygnoel.com. And I welcome your emails, and those that are listening on the rebroadcast, please, the same situation for you too. Nothing like, listening to a show and then not having any recourse or feeling like you don't. Well, you do. Email me, henry@henrygnoel.com, and I will most certainly answer your questions. So for the folks that are on the thread, that the floor is yours. Actually, it's all yours. In the meantime, I just get to sit here and talk. I guess, while you guys think about what you want to say. So let's see what we can put together. But we've covered some pretty heavy subjects. This whole review, this whole assessment that I've been trying to do of the last 2 years of listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brody. Brian had his reasons for starting the show, and they were very important to him. And obviously, with the loyalty of his listeners and the international review of his show, it has really been very important that his message get out there. And so what we're trying to do is simply carry that through. But I really like checking back. After a couple of years, I like to know what all you get out of it. What all have you discovered for yourselves that you find that's important or that's been instrumental in your changing of your lives? Has the show helped? Has Brian helped? Do I help, or do I get in the way? And I think it's all critical information that we all need to know. So regardless of where you are in the on the globe, and wherever you're listening to us, and however you're coming across, or however you're listening, that I want to know. I simply want to understand and know where you're coming from and what's happening. Now, Candace, you're a brave one to start up here. It's what is in my heart that I believe is all that matters to me. Everyone is different, and you're absolutely right, Candace. We have spent so much of our time not understanding or believing we know who we are, and that's a tough part. Yes, where we have to go to really discover the who's and what's about ourselves is inside. It's all there. All that information is in there, and I think it's very important that it all comes out, which is why I really go through this assessment. So we started off dealing with the honesty on how important it is that we are honest, not just to other people, but especially to us, because if we're not honest with us, then we don't have any hope anyway. And so we really want to do that. So pushing the honesty of how it is to be honest with ourselves. Then we talked about fears, and we talked about it at length. We talked about hate, which is a big byproduct of fears. We talked about labels, putting labels on us, and why we put labels on us. We got into the belief systems. Again, we started into the belief system, which is going to be a several-day process, because belief systems are everywhere. I mean, it is everything that we believe in. And so that's really what we're going to be dealing with. So it's heavy topics. Guilt was another one that we talked about. And they are all related. Everything ties together to create a tapestry of what we look at as our lives. And it's composed of all of the things that we're going to cover throughout this assessment of our past couple of years of change, self-review, self-analysis, actually. So, yeah, it is all important. Lee Raleigh, welcome. Thank you for joining. Any questions, just put it in. This is Free for All Thursday, where you get to talk, I get to listen, and attempt to answer questions or simply pass on comments that you wish to make. So let's just get things going with that way. So anybody that's brave enough to come on up, please come on up and give us the questions. But in the meantime, we're talking about where we are, how we've gone through, why I picked this assessment, or why I picked to assess the last couple of years as a review of us, us meaning Brian for one, myself as the other, as the newbie on the block, and the other side of it is to simply review where you are, what you think, would you like to see happen, what would you like to see different, what do you think would help you most, answers to questions that you might have, how you would like to get things directed, or how you'd like to see the show go through. So these are the things it's important to me to know, so that we can actually give you the data, the information that you guys are seeking. So again, out in the radio land where you know me just based on my voice, again, email me, henry@henrygnoel.com. Be happy to take the emails, happy to reply. It's very critical that you all do that. And I'll spell that out as HENRY@HENRYGNOEL.com. And as Brian teases me, the G for, well, I call it gone, or God help us, or whatever it may be, but it's henrygnoel.com. So yeah, Candace says, I know who I am, and I stopped trying to figure out others. It's impossible. Yeah, it sure is, isn't it? It's a lot of fun. And it's really hard. Doing the work, I think is the hardest part of it because it's serious work. I mean, it's not something that's sort of like a hobby. If you're trying to be true to yourself, you're trying to really understand who you are and what makes you tick, what makes you react, what makes you angry, what makes you feel guilty, what makes you hate, what makes, all of these things. We have to delve inside to find them because through the parenting that we have gone through, our learning from our parents, our friends, the learnings we've done from our teachers in school, the learnings we've done, and all through school, from elementary through college, the learnings that we've undergone from our politicians, from our religious leaders, all, from the news. All of this has influenced us to become and be who we are and how we see ourselves. So that's why I lay that question out, is that odds are you really don't know who you are, because unless you've gone through an awful lot of work to identify who you are and strip away a lot of the mashugana that we deal with. Mary Haggerty, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. And this is Free for All Thursday. So you get to talk, I get to answer or listen. So please, anything you would wish to say, throw it up there and we will deal with it. In the meantime, so the whole point of this whole thing is that so many people now are trying to do what they can to change, and trying to understand the meditations and the yoga and the getting back into exercise, healthy foods and healthy diets and healthy activities, healthy thoughts. It is extremely critical that we understand all this and that we're trying to do this. And focusing on ourselves is not selfish. I mean, that is one of the biggest hindrances why people don't try to take care of themselves or try to learn or try to improve themselves, is because people think that you're selfish. When in fact, the greatest gift you can give to the world is working on yourself. Since the world is a reflection of us, then the best things we can do is to create in us what the world wishes to be, what we want to see the world to be. And it starts in our home. It starts inside us. Marcia says true, but we need tons of empathy in order to live in harmony. Yes. And yeah, and it is so true, Marcia. We really do. The whole idea of the prejudices and the discrimination that we do. And so much of that a lot of it's unconscious, but a lot of it is really trying to discern what's going on. The more that you understand who you are, the more it gives you an opportunity to understand others. We can't understand others until we understand ourselves. And I think that is very, very, very hard concept to get through. Rita mentions that on Marcia's comment about being needing empathy. Absolutely. And she mentions compassion. And I think that's absolutely true. Compassion is extremely important. Sympathy, we don't need to give out there. That's fine. People are self-absorbed enough in sympathy that they don't need any more of that. They need to know how to fish rather than us giving them something to sustain them over and to feed their sympathy. But the empathy, the compassion, absolutely. Kansas says, I have very strong beliefs on all the hard subjects. People that don't agree, that's okay. I'm taking care of me being. That's absolutely right. We have to do that. We have to take care of us. It starts at us. And I think that's the key. We don't see that. Most times we don't see that. But it is very important that we do that. We have to understand that it is from us. Our perceptions are ours. The way we see the world is our perceptions. It is who we are. And it's what I'm trying to get everybody to do is start to question who it is that they are, why it is that they are, what makes them feel and do and act and think the way that they do. Because it is very important in our desire to one, change, but understand why the change is necessary and why it's important that we actually do change, because it's much better for us to understand more about ourselves, so that when we decide to finally lay down our path, instead of walking down the path that my father gave me, based on what his directions were, or the path that my mother might have given me, or some teacher, or some political affiliate, or even a priest or a rabbi or an imam. That's not my path. That's their path. And so the sooner that you understand that, the sooner you understand that we're not walking your own path, you can decide to get off that path and then start creating your own path and start living your life the way you wish to live it, because that's the only way we learn. That's the only way we do things. As I had mentioned the other day, my dad used to tell me all the time, Henry, you make a million mistakes if you want to, but just don't make the same one twice. Learn from the mistakes that you make. And that's part of this whole redevelopment of ourselves, is understanding, yeah, we've made mistakes. We've made mistakes in our decisions. We've followed someone else's guidelines. We've done stuff other people want us to do, not us. And the sooner we get off that path, the better off we are, and the quicker we come into terms of ourselves. Sarah Emma, sometimes it is, welcome, Sarah. Hi, it's great to see you. Sometimes it is easier to see each other as God having an experience, rather than trying to figure each other out. And you're right. It is, Sarah. That is the thing. And sometimes it's very easy to just go ahead and drop it in God's lap. We do that all the time. I mean, every football game, they're praying to God. Well, if God has the time to worry about their football game, we have some issues. So, it really is. It's up to us. I mean, the greatest gift we've got is we're alive. Brian has talked ad nauseum about the number of the odds of us even being here, in the trillions to one of our odds being here. I mean, anybody who played the lotto, this super lotto, I guess, up there in the States, I guess it was a huge number. And your odds were way better to win that than you were to actually be here on this planet. So to be who you are. So those odds, are just astronomical. And the fact that you're here says something about you, and the importance of that you are here and why you're here. So, we have to play those, and we have to understand those. It is extremely, extremely important that we do that. Maria, hi, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. It's good to see you. I hope you'll pop on the thread here. It is so important that we just deal with all of who we are, so that the short time that we have on this planet is being utilized for the purpose that we were here for. I mean, when we were here, we were created. We got that gift from God. We got that spark. So we got that gift. So we're here. So instead of wasting it or hating through it or doing all we can to destroy what time we have here and here in itself, we have to do that introspection as to what it is and why we're trying to do what we're doing, because it is so important that we not waste this little bit of time. We're so busy warring and hating and distrusting that we are missing the boat as to why we're here. We are being the deceptions that keep us from being on the path that we really need to be are just, again, about as astronomical as the odds of us having been here. We buy into all of this stuff, the social stuff, the social structures and the social ramifications of what we have to live with, and it is extremely difficult for us to do that. We think we conform. We think we fit in. I believe me, most of the belief systems that are out there, most of the social structures and categorizations that are out there, most of the definitions of the groups that we deal with, I really don't want any part of. That's not what I don't think. That's why we're here. I think there are much more important reasons why we're here, and I think that that's what we have to focus on. Candace says, I try to focus on things I love And absolutely we do. And Candace and I totally understand that. And and my job is focusing on the things that I may not necessarily love. The hatred that people have, people has, the desires to live in a state of fear, the thick head, thin skinned. This is what I do. This is my job. My job is to delve into this, to find out the whys and try to get people to stop doing that, and realize that they have an important job of being here. I mean, again, look at the odds of us actually being here. We must have a reason. There must be a purpose for us being here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be. Somebody else would be here in our stead. So I think it's extremely important that we do what we're here to do. And it isn't necessarily what we have been taught. It's hard to digest, but it's very possible that everything that we have learned has been to divert us from what our purpose really is. And if you look at the state of what the U.S. is going through at this point, and most of the world is going through the same thing politically, for sure. My God, people don't talk to each other. People hate each other. You can't sit in the same room. If a friend of yours is a Democrat, you're a Republican, odds are you probably don't even talk to him anymore. Or you're very restricted and you don't talk about politics, which, of the three major subjects in our life, sex, politics, and religion. What are the three we're not allowed to talk about? We've been taught this. That's what things you just don't talk about. You don't talk about sex. You don't talk about religion. You don't talk about politics. Why? Those are the most important things we can learn from each other, because it takes that. And if we can hold our breath long enough to be able to listen to someone else's viewpoint, we just might learn something. We don't have to react. Candace says, I would like to tell everyone, it's National Cat Day in the United States. Please consider giving a fur baby a forever home from shelters. Thank you. There you go. Public announcements. I'm doing public announcements now. I love it. Thanks, Candace. I like it. Okay. So the furry friends, huh? The little kittens out there. So yeah, we have a lot of things to do and a lot of growth to go through. And again, Candace, no, and not being insulting at all to you at all. I totally respect what you have to say. But we all do. No matter how much work we have done to ourselves, we have a long way to go. There is so much out there that affects us. There's so much out there that needs our help. And we need to be in a position to be able to do the helping. So a lot of it is all work. We have a tremendous amount of work. It doesn't stop for me, that's for sure. I mean, I am changing constantly, and that's the way we have to do things. That's simply the calling we have to do. Candace says, the hard subjects are what really affects our lives. Exactly. And it's the ones that it's hard for us to talk about. But that's the reason, again, why I'm bringing up these topics to deal with our assessment of the last couple of years, because these are heavy duty subjects. Honesty and fear and hate and guilt and labels and belief systems are probably 6 of the most important. On top of that, throw in, racism, discrimination, the thick head and thin skins, throw in the insecurities, throw in, my gosh, so many things. And we're not even talking about religion yet or specific politics. So yes, we're going to cover all of that in this whole assessment, because I think it's so critical that we do face this stuff and face ourselves in the mirror. Mr. Pinchera, welcome, Michael. How are you? Gosh, hope everything is going well with you. It's great to see you. Thank you for popping on the thread. Hope you're having fun wherever in the world you are again. You traveler, you. It's good to have you. It really is. These subjects are so difficult because it does. The very first topic was honesty, because it takes a ton of honesty to face these things. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with everyone else. But the problem is we have to be honest with ourselves, and we don't even know who we are. So it is really hard, and that's the part we have to do: break down those barriers that define us, because that's not who we are. Those are somebody else's definitions. That's somebody else's mashugana that they've thrown out there. We have what we have. It's all inside of us. We just have to dig deep. We have to start stripping away all of the garbage and start finding out what it is. Who are we? What are we about? What is that really we like? Not what somebody told us we like, or what something experience, and experiences that we like. It's what is it that we like? We talk about people that seek to be completed out there by somebody. You complete me. It is such a troubled statement when you realize that people actually, they marry, they make decisions to have families on the basis of someone completing them. I can imagine how success, and of course it ends up breaking up, so it just doesn't end up working. But can you imagine the change and the difference it would be if people came to the table complete? Wow, if they actually knew who they were, really knew what their likes and dislikes really were, knew what their capabilities were for handling life. Wow. It would be such a difference. Divorce rates would be down. Marriages probably would be down because people don't feel like they need somebody else to complete them. They're complete enough to go out there and go to a restaurant by themselves, and go to the opera by themselves, go to a symphony by themselves, go to a band by themselves. They don't have to have somebody on their arm to complete them. And what a difference that just alone would make in this world. And so I find it very interesting that yes, where Candace mentions, it is very hard to talk about the hard subjects, and people are afraid to talk about the hard subjects because I think a multitude of reasons. I think one, they really don't understand those subjects. We're going to get in Sunday night when we get into this section of the belief systems, where I'm going to discuss part of that. Well, Mr. McFeely, welcome and for joining us. Thank you for joining in from lovely Ireland. It's great to have you here. My goodness, thank you. It's great to see you, Paul. Thank you. It's really hard. Oh, Michael says something. He says this self-awareness is calling for a new culture of being, but that's the nature of the. Just thank you very much, Michael. Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get the message out. We're trying to get people to understand that culture is culture, and it's based on the things that we dealt with over the last few days. It was, dealing with the social, categorizations, the labeling that we do to people. It is really, really hard to fathom this, and we're so in the middle of it, we don't understand with it. Hi, Paul. Great to see you too. Thank you so much. I all is doing well. Thank you. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning over here, but I thank you for everybody that's in the thread and everybody that's actually listening live on the radio. I do thank you all for everything, for putting up with me. I think it's really great. So thank you. We're getting there slowly but surely. But yeah, we want to talk about the things that really are the unmentionables. And I'm not talking about lingerie. They're not able to talk about stuff. I think this is what is, although unmentionables, I guess, do get untalked about quite a bit, don't they? But yeah, the topics of religion, the topics of politics, the topics of dealing with sex, the other belief systems. For every idea that's out there, there's a belief system for it, and you'll get that on Sunday evening when I go through this, because even I'm overwhelmed with a lot of what I find out in the research that I do with this stuff on how invasive belief systems are and how convoluted they are, because they can't even define a belief system literally without using the word belief in it. And again, one of my pet peeves is trying to define a word by using the word in a definition. You don't learn anything from that. It just doesn't make any sense. So it is really tough knowing all that goes into the creation of what we believe or what we think of for ourselves, knowing that more than likely it's from our programming or from our learning or the teachings that we have undergone. That's where we got these feelings of where we are. I mean, we're not born hateful or discriminatory. We learn all that stuff, and that's what we do. So we learned it from someplace. So the fact that we hate, or the fact that we fear, the fact that we discriminate, the fact that we don't trust, these are learned. We learned them from someplace, and we need to go back and discover where it is we learned them, and then unlearn them. Go back before we learned them and get back to what it is that is our all natural being. It sure isn't what we have now in this adult package, that's for sure. I mean, this can be a mess. So it really is different. And part of what I want everybody to start to understand, or what I'm trying to get you to work through, is the fact that we don't know who we are because of all of this stuff that we've had to deal with, all of the stuff we've had to learn. And that is part, and the reason why I'm going through this is what I had to do. For me to get to where I'm at right now, it's taken years of work to get through and understand that I just had to stop. And, and I mean, when I was told that first time, Henry, just stop. Just stop. My good buddy, John, just stop. Well, stop what? Just stop. Stop what, John? Stop. What? Everything. What do you mean? I mean, years of going through this conversation, this dialogue, until it finally sinks in. You finally start to understand. It's everything that we believe, everything that we think, everything that we've learned. We got to just stop, because that's why we are the way we are. And because of the way we are, that's why the world is the way it is. So, can we fix the world? Nah, we can't. I can't. But I can fix me. And if the world truly is a reflection of us, the more me's that are out there, although I pity the world for that, the more me's that are out there, then a shift has to happen. It just simply has to. Until it gets to a point to where it stagnates, because I've reached a plateau, a level at which I need now to keep going and changing, and until I pick up that gauntlet again and continue to change, then that continues. It's not a one-stop process. You don't just start to change and think, okay, that's it, we're done. It never stops. Re-evaluation, reflection in yourself, looking in that, the mirror never goes away. And because the mirror never goes away, the person staring back at you never goes away. It's like a haunting. You turn around and there I am. Oh my God. And it's time to work. It's time to do stuff. Alice says, and unfortunately, so much of what we've learned is a lie. Absolutely, Alice. And that's exactly my point. That's where I'm trying to go to. Exactly what it is. It is hard to understand that we have lived a lie, that we have been taught wrong, of perception perhaps, but still taught to where the world isn't getting any better. It's getting worse. And so it has to be us. It simply has to be us. Heather, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to see you part of the thread. Thank you. We're simply on Free for All Thursday, so jump in, chime in, and whatever you got to say, put it on the thread. We'd love to hear from you. So you can say hello. You can sit down and say, this is crazy, or Henry, please be quiet for a while, or whatever you need to do. But yeah, it would be good to hear from you. So no, this is the stuff we're going to be covering. This is how deep we're going to get into this, because we have to. This is my thing. This is what I enjoy doing. I really love delving into the areas of our lives that people won't touch. Parts of your life that you won't touch. That's where I want to go. because that's what's going to define us. That's what's going to change us. That's what's going to open our eyes. That's what's going to make us hate the person in the mirror and hate that person until you actually fall in love with them. That's what this is all about. That's what this whole thing and concept is. We have about, 4 more minutes to go or so, maybe 5. So please let's see if anybody else has any opinions or anything that's going on. Again, for everybody that's on live on the radio and those listening to the rebroadcasts, again, it's henry@henrygnoel.com. Email me with your thoughts, your ideas. I mean, we've named off in the beginning of this show all the countries that people are listening to this show from, and we're up to like 37 different countries in the world now. You all have to have opinions, and you have to have things that you really would like to say, good or bad, right or wrong. Say them. Email me, because I'd like to know your points of view. You're in Kuwait, you're in Libya, you're in Spain, you're in Saudi Arabia, you're in Afghanistan, you're in Palestine, you're in Israel, you're in India and in Pakistan. You're all over the world. You're coming in from so many different countries. Please write to me. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you want to see happen and how the show needs to go and what you'd like to see, what you would like us to talk more about. I'd love to hear from you. It's at henrygnoel.com. Marie says you need a moral basis to determine what is a lie and what is not. My basis is the Bible. And there you go. You've decided to hold on to the Bible. And there's nothing wrong. You have a baseline, Maria, and I think that's great. But yes, the fact is, yes, so much in this stuff and so much of our moral basis, remember, and moral basis are all perceptions based on belief systems. So everybody's belief systems, they have all different ones. Sarah says, it is helpful to look deep into your eyes in a mirror and keep looking for a while, and eventually you will see and feel the real you, the authentic and the beautiful real you. Absolutely right, because you're stripping away. The eyes are the path to your soul, and that is exactly what it does. You can't lie to yourself. Look yourself in the eye. You can't lie, because that's what it's all about. And that's why I want people to do that. Look in the mirror. You want to change? Look in the mirror. You'll change. Believe me, because it is painstaking effort to do it. Michael says, even when we get beyond our conditioning and can think, feel, and act freely, it is still necessary to create our perceptions and thinking every minute. Michael, it is true. We really do. And you're in Malaysia. That's where you're at. I just love it. Michael, so thank you for tuning into the show. It's great. It's got to be some amazing time there. I guess you're in the morning, aren't you? But thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad to see you. This is so good. We got about a minute left to go. Here, maybe a minute and a half. I believe me, my brother will scream in my left ear when it's time to go. So I just want to make sure I get everything in as we do. But yes, get the information to us. Let me know your thoughts, regardless of where you are in the world. Whatever language you're in, there are translations here. I can get them translated. So please, I have no problems with it. Please let's get it down while we're into our very, very last minute here. I would like to thank you all. First, for those joining in on the thread and sharing this Free for All Thursday, thank you. For those of you on the radio, thank you. It is Free for All Thursday, and it don't have to take a Thursday for you to let me know what's going on. Write to me. You all have my email address. If you want to understand this and you want to talk privately, don't hesitate. Write to me. We can arrange things so we can actually talk. So please do this. And I'm only trying to help. I'm only trying to do what I can do so that everybody can really understand and meet their all-natural being all over again. And with that, I'm going to say thank you. This is our last show for the evening. For the week. We will see you again on Sunday evening. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. So have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy, stay safe, and enjoy. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great weekend.